Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and knights of the Wise Asylum. Oh, what a lovely, lovely week we've had. It looks like they're changing the weather a bit. It's going to go raining, but what a beautiful week that was. Superb. I hope you enjoyed it. You know when it's going to come back. But yeah, interesting week again. The old saga that's been going on for quite some time. Do you know what? They're so infantile. I'm so starting to see this, what it is they've done and how they've done it. And it's just so ridiculous when you think about it, especially when you consider such as this. So basically, Cabinet Office, Public Correspondence, 70 Whitehall, London. Thank you for your email of the 28th of October to the Cabinet Office regarding the Bill of Rights of 1688-9. I can confirm that the Bill of Rights, the Coronation Oath Act and the Treason Act all continue to sit on the UK statute book and have not been repealed. Over the many years they have been in effect, they have been subject to the occasional amendment. Well, unfortunately, the government cannot amend what is the right of the people. That's an overstretch. So they haven't been amended. That carries. For the latest version of each, yeah, no thanks, we'll stick to what's real. I hope you find this response helpful, and thank you once again for contacting the Cabinet Office. Yours sincerely, Ollie, Correspondence Officer, Public Correspondence Team, Cabinet Office. 4th of November 2022. Okay, why are we getting nowhere? Why is this game just keep going on and on and on? Because by their own nonsense in the la la land, as these freaks that call themselves Jews, of course, nonsense. They're shoving everything into this no high trust. No ownership, no public, no property, nothing is the intention. And what they've done now, if you're speaking Crown, you're talking government in their little la-la land. And the way, let's just say the response that came back in the week from what was basically a claim, but obviously to play the game, we put it up as an appeal, is outrageous, but so enlightening in relation to just exactly what they're doing, because they've completely ignored everything except focusing on the appeal and the fact that I didn't fill out that form N161 correctly, which of course was deliberate. Why would I really want to be appealing a crime? Yeah, why would you want to appeal a crime? No, you want to appeal a crime, would you? You'd be making a claim. So the response that we've had is so revealing. It's so... You can see now, I can see now exactly how this game's playing. And of course, the Chancery Listing Office is what's responded. And it's a completely different address from the Chancery. So again, it's all shoved down into the game, the fiction that they control. And they want everybody to accept their nominated trustee without any permission, acknowledgement, or even, let's say, appointment by the beneficiary. It's ridiculous. But you look at the Bill of Rights. We know that Magna Carta is still in force. I have paperwork to say that that's exactly the same. These constitutional statutes or laws, whichever way you want to see it, are still there. And it has to be so, because otherwise the hoity-toits at the top would fall foul in the same manner as everybody else is. So, interesting indeed. And it's now clear to me what it is they're doing, what it is they've done, and how they bully people into giving in. And if you hire a lawyer, you don't stand a chance, not a chance, in any way, shape or form. And, you know, each time you go up there and you think, oh, they've done this ruling. No. Because when you really consider what's going on there, it's just nonsense. It is a breach of trust. It is a trespass on your estate, on your rights. It puts the monarch in dishonour. And if he's absent, well, what is your right? You claim your sovereignty that the monarch has in trust. You see? And this is what we've been missing. We've been putting up common law here, this bit, a little bit there, but the dots themselves in relation to what is the difference between the fiction and the real rights, rule of law, which is justice, and sovereignty, how it interconnects at a level above the fiction. And even though for the years I've been playing with this and studying the common law and all the nonsense, it's only just started to really show itself and why we get nowhere in relation to presenting it in a manner that puts them on the whoa. You know what I'm saying? And so much of this, you have to get your live birth record, you have to get this, you have to get that, you need to do this, jump through this fucking hoop. You don't at all. You just need to start to grasp what is constitutional law and what isn't. It's so becoming clear now. It's really, it's eye-opening, it's enlightening, it's epiphanies all round. So this is going to get rather interesting, I have to say. And of course, what I've always said, less is more. And as you move into that realm, less is more. You're not talking copious amounts of nonsense. But I think, looking at it from my perspective, what's been missing from me is just how it connects into a circle above this fiction. How it actually fits together, in order you know how to present it, where to send it. Because it's interesting. So we've had two responses. One, not from the Chancery Court that it was sent to, so perhaps the court director was incorrect, but the Chancery Listings Office, which is again way down there in the pecking order, completely different address. And we know that they've been colluding again with the results of what they thought they'd achieved on the 17th of March. And we know that because they're not very bright. And they've pretty much exposed themselves completely. But it makes sense when you know what it is they're actually doing. So we know exactly what's gone on there, where that's come from. And nobody's responding, save for the Lord Chief Justice Office, who has sent us some interesting paperwork that I have yet to see, giving us potential means of helping our endeavour. Now again, this is another issue that's not being signed off. So even though that's a decent response and one you would expect at least from somebody holding high office, still not getting signatures. So there's still cloaking. So again, there is no appeal to be had. Okay, why you don't appeal a crime do you? You make a claim over a crime. So, in essence, the addition of the term appeal in the paperwork and the Form M161 actually gave them something to play on and play with to respond, to serve back on the old tennis court. So again, you don't want to go near these appeals and such like. It's just playing in their game, and we all know that appeals never run through because nobody wants to undo a colleague's, his bestie buddy's ruling. Otherwise, it starts to dismantle. So that's well fixed in their system, without a shadow of a doubt. But many of my compadres have said to me over the years, the most important thing you have to start to really understand is trust law, how trusts work. To really see the picture. And I'm seeing the picture. So it's more work to be done. But at the moment, it's becoming more as a confidence thing. You now, I'm instead of on your back foot or just rebutting and playing around with their nonsense, now you're into a field whereby you can say, oh, okay then, well, if that's the way you want to play it. Because all they've actually done is added to the conspirators list, basically. Which is interesting. And it's good because the more the merrier. Really, we want these bastards to pay. We want these, and it's exemplary damages here because we're dealing with public officials. So it's interesting. And it's getting more and more interesting indeed. So I'll say no more on that. There's a good piece of kit for you to screenshot just if you need to evidence that recently it's been shown that the Bill of Rights, the Treason Act, and the Coronation Oath are in force. Now remember, the King did oath to keep the law. So that's where you've got him. That's where you've got him, because when they're talking about law, they're not talking about the statutes and legislation coming out to government, which is just an arm of the monarch, you might say. No, it's the law, which is the hoity-toits hold, keeps them in play, keeps them protected. Now, as I've said for years, these hoity-toits up there don't, in my opinion, realise that actually, if you study the actual essence of what's being presented in this New World Order system, that's going to be removed at some point as well. So even that protection for these idiots that have pulled it in thinking that they're going to benefit from it isn't the case. And obviously they've not fully read or understood the agenda. And, you know, it's there to be seen if you can look and seek in the right places. So everybody, in my opinion, is being shafted, no matter what level you're at. And Mr. Trump, for everything he's doing good in America, which is what keeps everybody's focus, and then the gatekeepers keeping you focused to that mix only so you're not seeing the other side, it's the hidden. And of course, we're going to look at a couple of things tonight just to further expand on what I've been saying about don't look there, look here, because this is what's happening and this is where it's going. And it's moving for the reset. It's moving for the no-hide trust. It's moving to have you self-sabotage your entire life and family that may come after. That's how dangerous this game is. And of course, there's been a bit more on Tommy the Robinson this week, or Stephen Laxley, just to buffer it up and get it all ready for this. He's released Trump, Musk, everybody, Tate, the lot, Jones. He's fantastic, look at him. To get that 5% of the loonies, the knuckle draggers, that don't know anything different than getting pissed every Saturday and going at football matches. I'm sorry, boys, but, you know, I know you think that football's the be-all and end-all. It's only the be-all and end-all because you're retarded and you can't think beyond it. and kicking the bag of wind around the field to put it in that net over there isn't intelligence, it's not spirituality, it's just blind mob entertainment. And, you know, if that's the kind of people that through Robinson, this group that run Israel from Russia, who are trying to excite enough, at least 5 to 7% of the population to begin causing civil unrest, then these soldiers that have been coming in from all over the war zones, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Chechnya, Afghanistan, in these hotels, all over the shore, paid for by your estate, your credit, then that's exactly what they're waiting for, to release these guys into security on the ground. Now, do you know how difficult that would become for whites and blacks here on this nation? Because they're the same colour as another bunch and they're going to favour them. Straight away, you're at a massive disadvantage. That's how important it is. People start to at least open their mind to the fact Tommy actually is going to be a major weapon in securing the very thing the majority of you guys think you want to fight. You will play right into their hands. And then, as angry as you may be now, when you do, or if you do carry out that, you will be so angry at yourself, but there won't be any remedy for you. None. You've seen how they're going to play it after the Southport disaster. Thinking is essential today. But not only that, now, word on the street among our Western-born Muslim populations is, do you know how you out there are sick to death of seeing these immigrants? So are they. Because whose business do you think they're taking over? Exactly. Western-born Muslim communities. They're seeing the worst part of it in essence, because these guys are coming in and shoving themselves in their communities and opening up businesses and taking trade from them. So we have another thing in common there, on top of the fact that we're a lot smarter than these subcultures that they're pouring in, because we've lived in a Western nation. We also have another one, which is they don't like the immigrants and we don't like the immigrants. You see, we need to start looking for what we have in common in relation to how we're going to deal with this situation. Because, let's face facts, the white race has been emancipated. It's been annihilated. The only whites that are left in the majority today are the feeble, weak shitbags that like to look out the window and tell tales. You know, the boys, the real boys that had something about them, gone. Since the late 80s, when they introduced drugs. And if they didn't get taken out that way, they joined the secret societies. And they became the drug dealers that never got any flack, never got put away, because they were doing all the grassing. And I know quite a few of them. And I know how many people have gone to jail because of them. And if they ever found out that, there'd be big trouble. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how the degree to which we as a white culture have been emaciated. You've only got weak males left. That's all you've got left. There are, of course, still strong males, but we're so far apart in this nation. And then you're dealing with weak, feeble pillocks all over wherever you are in the country. It's not to our advantage to allow Tommy's tits to be out there causing civil unrest. So it's about, let's sit back and look. Where is the real enemy to this? Well, first of all, it's anybody in a uniform. It's anybody in a suit that works for council or government, because they're facilitating this. And we now know you can't get away from it. These immigrants are soldiers. And we're not talking about the dipsticks that come in on the boats. We're talking about them that have been pouring in the airplanes all through COVID, filling these hotels. I found out recently that the Duncan House Hotel in Clayton Moors, which is a very famous old middle-aged hotel kind of scenario, to which, when I look back in my ancestry, they were very connected. So it's a Stony Earth gig. Up to last year, they were housing these immigrants. And one of the cleaners got gang raped by these immigrants. And do you know what? Shh. Everything was hushed up. Even I hadn't heard about it. Well, I'm not looking for... But a year has passed and I'd heard nothing about this until the other week. It was hushed up by the Duncan House, which is Mercure Hotels. Okay, so Mercure Hotels, they're playing the game. And when it kicks off like that, they're keeping everybody quiet. The council kept it quiet. Everybody kept it quiet. So I'm wondering if this young lass that was the victim has thought about claiming a massive compensation here. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of legwork here now and see what I can find out, because this young lady needs to know that she doesn't have to keep her fucking mouth shut just because her employer said it and council said it and police said it. Yeah? Kept quiet. Gang raped a cleaner on my doorstep, and I didn't know anything about it. Now, I heard that they kicked him out. Now, whether they brought new ones in, I don't know. But you've got all these systems now. Not only are they bringing in unlawful behaviour, they're protecting it. They're making us fund it. That's the enemy. That is the enemy. And as I've said, Western-born Muslim communities despise this mass immigration because, in effect, it's affecting them worse. First. I mean, most of my culture are all on fucking dole. So it's not affecting them, is it? It's affecting them because they're getting thrown out their housing. It's affecting them because housing's gone through the roof. But in the main, these soldiers are being housed in hotels. At your expense, because it's the Home Office paying them. There is the enemy. What does Tommy want you to do? He wants you to focus specifically on another culture. Bear in mind, this other culture is in a bit of a quandary because if you get sucked into its doctrine around its bank, they're encouraged to see this as, oh, this is great, Allah's going to take over everything. As promised. Promised by who? Promised by who? The bankers. Look at what's happening in China. You're only being used for a certain time. And then in will come China. And when you start saying you can't eat pork, they're going to say, okay. You think? It's not going to work, is it? You've got to look a little bit beyond your own self-service here. Question these mosques. These imams are screwing you over. You've got you so far off the Quran, it's phenomenal. It's ridiculous, in fact. But it's important. Immigration is not just a problem to the white natives. It's a major problem to the communities that have been building up here since the 60s. Common ground. Common ground, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, that's exactly what we need to be looking at today. Common ground. What is it that's going to destroy us all? Even though it's doing it incrementally, one bunch first, then another bunch, blah, blah, blah. If you can see that, then don't be that block that's used to try and destroy one block. Yeah, because it's just incremental. It's the way it always goes. And you get my drift, don't you, surely? But they're getting closer now to Tommy the Tits release. Apparently they're going to rule on it in the week. So expect them to launch that, would be my caution. And I think it's a lot closer than we think. And Tommy will be on in Tenerife telling you all what to do. We've looked at Starmer. Who's funds Starmer? Israel. Who backs Tommy? Israel. Who tells Trump what to do? But you see, Israel is a misnomer also, because it's just one aspect of this game. So it's not even Israel. It is the Bolsheviks. And who funded them? The inner city of London. Bankers. It's bankers. Everything that's going on today is banking. And who do these bankers work for? Or who are these bankers? Let's remind ourselves, shall we?
What do you see as the biggest challenges in conservation?
The growing human population. Because where we are, there's nothing else.
And do you have views about what should be done about that?
Can't you guess?
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
I come to this House of the People to speak to you and all Americans.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil.
You ready? You ready? Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. You ready? You ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us, or you are with the terrorists.
Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. You got me running, got me running, got me running, got me running. My own decisions, I don't want no opinions. Calling all the shots and I don't need nobody's permission.
All white faces. But that's by design. They're fronting. The real dark Tartarian freaks that ran the Golden Horde, Persians mix, Mongol mix, all this that's been going on over there in that side of Russia that we have been taught nothing about. So you see a parade of what look like white people. No, they're just a front. It's ridiculous. Every nation, if you go to China, it'll have that elite, its own elite. India, Japan, every country on the planet, Kazakhstan, Uzbek, all of these nations have elites to that degree. Of course, we're dealing in Europe, and those are the people that have puppeted it since the Venetians took it over on behalf of these Tartarian kings over there on the other side of Russia. So there we go. That's the problem. They're the bankers. They're the banking families that have been controlling Europe. And some. I know there's a lot of names that we don't even know. And they've been classing themselves as the Holy See since the 1300s, 1100s maybe, but definitely from the 1300s. That's the problem we have. It doesn't matter what belief system you might be in, you are controlled. You know, you don't need a belief system when you know what's right and wrong inside, and everybody knows what's right and wrong. Well, with the exception of maybe some. But in truth, if you have a conscience, you know when something's right and when something's wrong. So if some teaching's telling you this is okay, and your inside conscience tells you it's not, who can you blame if you follow the other? You can't blame them, you've got to blame yourself because you made that choice. Self-responsibility is where it comes down to at this time. It's ridiculous, but they're moving so fast with this now, it's quite ridiculous. So who's joined us anyway? Kerry says, love from Ireland, love back to Ireland, all evening Kerry. Mark says, evening Sean, all evening Mark. Slipknot, alright Sean everyone, evening to you Slipknot. Paul says, good evening Sean, fellow mates, evening Paul. Nice weather but still sprayed us to hell, says Slipknot. Yeah, they've been doing it early in the morning, haven't they, which suggests that what they've been doing is removing the moisture out of the atmosphere to keep it. Because for the majority of the day, it's been quite clear. And then I've noted they've been doing it a bit at the evening as well, but not apparent as they're not obfuscating the sun as they have been. So somebody I think mentioned the other week that perhaps it's looking like they're going for a drought situation here later in the year, which wouldn't surprise me, especially going off the data we looked at the other week on what they're doing with the water, which then seem to be a sort of a supporting thing in Parliament. However, you've got Bolsheviks in and they want to nationalise everything, which, if the government was de jure, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But whether it's nationalised into the government or privatised, it's still in the same hands regardless. So I don't know what they're up to there, but they're on about doing the steel industry now, aren't they? But of course the profits are not going to be going back into our economy, are they? No, they're going to be going straight into the banking fraternity. And of course now our national grid, you've got all these silly windmills all over the shore that apparently Vlad the Impaler is playing with his submarines. When we had his own grid and we had his own power stations, we were pretty self-sufficient. But the numpties that believe in this scam called climate change really should know better, but then they don't, do they? And so here we are. P. Weiss Music says, good evening, all evening, Paul. Benefactor says, hi, Sean Weiss, Salem, evening, Benefactor. Jerry says, hey, Sean and all, in the Weiss Salem, evening. Jerry Mew says, good morning, afternoon, evening, one and all. Welcome to the Weiss Salem Minutes, attending the Sunday sermon. Evening to you, Mew. Just to let you all know, chaps, the cash that you've donated is still there. It has not been touched, so don't be thinking Shawnee Boy's been out partying. It's still there and it's not been touched, so don't be thinking anything in that respect. Hi Jerry and Mark. Well, Sean, certain man's been saying the Constitution is the solution and he's standing in a by-election in Runcorn and Ellesby in May, and that one man would be Graham Moore. Yes, I did watch that you sent me. I mean, fair play to Graham, he doesn't give up, and I like that. Anybody that doesn't give up is alright in my book. So I do wish him well. And Runcorn, well, he might just stand a chance there. Probably more of a chance than Chorley. Chorley's full of fucking fruit bats, you know. As all the scared and shit-scared people have moved to Chorley. Because, of course, it's still in the hands from the days of the Royal Ordinance, which was Chorley, basically. So all the pussies and the numpties and the shitheads and have all moved to Chorley to escape what their grandmasters are telling them is coming down pipeline. So he may have a better chance in Runcorn than he ever would have done in Chorley, I can tell you that now. Treen says, hi Sean, all from White Sound Evening. Treen, we do have an army of Oz now, you're all knighted, you're quite right. KWS's, or KWS, Knights of the Wise Asylum. No, KWA, what am I on about? I can't even, I did have it worked out this week, but I forgot. So yeah, we have knights in the house. Let's just keep these tits at bay, chaps, you know what I'm saying? The me's and the CC's and these toss bags. We don't need that shit. Where are we? Rifler. The rightful or legal successor to the estate of a deceased sovereign, king, queen, or supreme authority figure. Well, it shouldn't be that way. It's supposed to be, but you have to claim it first. PY Music gives it the big whoop. Jerry says asylum screws. Asylum screws. Well, we need them, don't we, now? We've got some... We keep getting the odd fruit bat coming in there, causing havoc. So yeah, asylum screws, yeah. Alright. Good evening, Sean. The chat says June. Evening, June. Mewpit's pissing himself. Treen says, our street is stinking of shite from the stuff they're spraying on the field. It's really bad. Well, is it yellow? Is it a yellow liquid that they're spraying all over? If it is, do you know what that is? That's human shit. And then they can call it organic. And that's why it stinks. It's full of meds. It's full of all the genetic structures for all these diseases that everybody's got. It's got imprints as a structure in the water from the vaccine, everything. It's and they call it organic. So, like I said to you before, chaps, be very careful how you help elevate the farmers. And I'm not talking about the smallholders. But you hear farmer today, and what people don't realise is the majority of it, or the power of it, are the huge landed gentry, the hoity-toits, that are paid millions to do fuck all, apart from cut the edges, once every 2 years. And they were getting excited earlier in the year, reminding farmers that they're coming up to the limit now where they have to cut their fences. Be careful here. I mean, you can already see some of them trying to stop you walking your dog on a public right-of-way because they chose to put the sheep next to public right-of-way. Well, that's your own fucking fault, isn't it? Go and put your sheep away from the public's right-of-way. Not do what you want and then expect the public to fucking put the dog on a lead. What's the point of taking your dog out if you're not going to let it off the lead? But it's a game, and you need to be watching this. We do need farmers, but what we don't need is hoity-toity farmers, because they're the ones that are paid not to grow. Yeah, they're the ones that are helping these trusts take the land. On the back of these fires as well, take note. Regulations, a fire, regulate it, blah, 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 blah. Can you see, it's all land grabbing. It's all a land grab, every single part of it. National Trust, all these big institutions that all baby boomers birthed and funded and loved and thought it were fantastic because they're not the brightest. Honestly, it's just shh. Where are we? So that Mew says Norman Stanley Fletcher. Is that thee? Benefactor, the sovereign successor to the deceased sovereign estate and entitlements duly recognised as an executor of all rights, titles and responsibilities therein. Sovereign successor to the deceased sovereign estate and entitlements duly recognised as it. Yeah, but you've handed your sovereignty over. Well, you didn't hand it over. Your father, your mum and dad did to the sovereign. Or actually, the office of monarch isn't sovereign. Remember that. Parliament isn't sovereign. The Privy Council isn't sovereign either. If it's there in the role of representing the absent king, then it only has the same role as the king or the queen, which is to protect your rights. And it's a trust system, so everything has to be truthful. They can't be deceptive. It's the lower shit where they're talking out their ass. Again, people by people that should know better. Little slaves in suits. It's and they think they're something. Can you see how Alice in Wonderland is so on the ball? It's all upside down. If you're trying to travel up the fucking gravy train, you're actually sliding down the pole. It's a mirror image. At the top of that tree is the fucking pits of hell. And everybody's chasing it. Everybody's worshipping these fucks. And then they go, oh, what's happening in stadium's taking over? Well, you're fucking promoting it, mate. I'm flossing. Where are we? Mew says, Treen, I heard that a farmer was spraying something that smells of human shite on his field, recently locally. This is what they're doing. It's you can see it, it's yellow. They spray it off, so they have a big tank on back of the tractor, and then they have a big pipe coming up with an offset. And it just throws this yellow fucking piss all over the field. And it stinks. It's human shit. That's what it is. So United Utilities are involved in it. They're making money out of it. A private company. Yeah. Destroying your water. Removing your water. And you'll pay them, won't you? You'll pay them to do it. See, rebellion has to be first thought out. Not just gunno from people like Tommy the Tit. Who he speaks, most of what he says is correct. But who controls him? And what is his real agenda? That's what you've got to look at. Not, is Tommy good or bad? Is what Tommy's saying right or wrong? It wouldn't work if what Tommy was saying were wrong. It wouldn't work. Don't look at that. You go a bit deeper and say, well, who the fucking hell's funding this fella? And what is the potential outcome if he gets his way? And for that, you have to look at who's funding him, who's backing him, and who are the kind of people that are sucking shit out of his ass. Then you can see they're not the brightest people. They follow Tommy because they've nothing else. They don't know any different. The thick people, the remedials, you're back at class, chewing pencil and lead and rubber. And then biro, because they blew all over the face. You remember them ones? With big National Health glasses on at back. Then they got older and went to football. You're going to get your fucking head kicked in. That kind of characters, you know what I'm saying? They're the ones that follow Tommy. So, exactly, Mew, it's recycling the sewage. No, it's making sure you're all getting it. You're just wrecking the food chain. I mean, what are they doing now? Let's have a look. What are they doing here? Fucking hell. So we've looked at that one. Look at this. This is what they're up to. So this is the game, is it? What's next? What's next going to be shot in? So what's in N's body is going in our bodies. Remember, we are what we eat. If the shot can't get us on its way, it'll come through another way. As the Sainsbury, all stores that sell Class A free-range eggs from free-range hens are shotted. Check what you buy. I was going to buy eggs, glad I looked first. I never knew this was happening. I've probably got the stuff in me since I last purchased Chucky eggs. So are Class A free-range eggs shotted? Yes. Under the British Lion scheme, Class A free-range eggs are from hens that are shotted against salmonella. Here's a more detailed explanation. British Lion scheme. The British Lion scheme is a food safety scheme that ensures eggs are produced to a strict code of practice with a key focus on salmonella prevention. Shotted. Hens producing eggs under the British Lion scheme are shotted against Salmonella enteritidis and Salmonella typhimurium. Traceability. Oh, here we go. The scheme also includes a unique passport system ensuring complete traceability of hens, eggs and feed. So, it's the British Lion scheme that you need to double check that your supplier, is he involved in that or not? So you've got Euler putting Bovia in it from Bill Gates. You've got them doing this with the eggs, the chickens. I mean, I've seen some of the videos where they actually shot the chickens on a big conveyor belt thing. It's quite ridiculous, isn't it? Little chicks like that. So they're just wrecking the entire food chain to wreck you. And putting shit on a field, then growing stuff in it, and feeding it you is just another part. Yet still people just do nothing. They do nothing. What can you do with that? What can you do with that? That's important stuff. But Tommy coming out of prison is more important. Is it? No. Because Tommy's going to do nothing but cause havoc and get these soldiers on the streets. That's all he's going to do. And Elon Musk will be out there giving it, Tommy, Tommy. Tate will be out there giving it, Tommy, Tommy. And any other tit that's a part of this no-eyed system. It's quite ridiculous if you just give it a little bit of thought. It's normally inherent with no smell. I have a brother who works in the industry. Inert, you mean? It's really putrid and doors and windows shut, says Shreen. Wonder what else is in it. Do they need to put anything else in it? You think about it. Every time everybody's shitting down that toilet, it's all going into sewers. They're on meds. They're eating all the shit in the world. They've got parasites. They've got every structural disease in its water, so piss as well. And then they're amalgamating that together and spraying it all over the fields. Do they really need to put anything else in it? Let's be honest. what we have in common is far greater than most folk believe, the hype and fall for the divine. Yeah, exactly. But do you know the one thing that comes in between that? Religion. That's what is the problem. Not necessarily the doctrine that they're based on, we're not talking about that. But when you've got imams who are completely and utterly misrepresenting the Quran and creating the Sharia, because 99% of the Muslims don't read it, it's easy. Religion then becomes a problem. When you've got vicars and priests preaching a connection between Judah and Christ, enough to have Christians thinking, oh, well, that's the way it is, religion's a problem. Because if you get back into the nitty-gritty of it, the very man himself came against that system as a slave system, the Second Temple, formed by King Cyrus, or Donald Trump, from the captive Judahites. Not Jews, Judahites. Never Israelites, but look what they've done. They've come and captured or almost captured the entire 12 tribes. Because they've convinced you you're a Jew, when in fact you're not a Jew, you were of the Israelite tribes. And the Talmud, the Midrash, have coaxed you into this other aspect of it because it makes you look better, bigger, brighter, smarter. As Abe Finkelstein said, they all fucking know. All of them. All of them. And I've been watching Gold Rush, and I watch it and I just think, jeez, man, these motherfuckers that call themselves this, they have all the power. It was given in 1940, and these fuckers have it already. So this is how I see it. Unless you're prepared to make the cooks of this game eat their own fucking word, how's it going to work? Give them what they want. Give it back to them. They're cooking it. They want it for you. You don't have to eat it. But you can make them fucking eat it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the mindset's not there. There's no mindset to war anymore. It's been handed over to militaries. Militaries have been taken over by the same. Can you see what I'm saying? That's how they've sort of demolished the man and turned him into a human. And now it's about to shift to Gollum. You know? It's scary stuff. Scottish governments have paid off all those kids in care homes up here, providing they sign a non-disclosure. 15 grand. What's that for, Treen? Kids in care homes? You mean against coming out with any stuff that's happening there? Well, yeah, lolly. Talks, doesn't it? Not only the authority care homes, but the private schools and boarders. Well, that wouldn't surprise me. Even if they were not victims, however, many who were are still taking legal action. Good on them. Mew says, local authorities said no to building on Greenbelt government overrules and granted the biggest development in the northwest in Warrington, plus Greenbelt given to the travelling community. Well, exactly. I mean, the Greenbelt was just their way of first taking control of areas of land of interest to them, usually strategic, in that if somebody else bought that land and decided to do something with it, they would have no chance down the line of having it for their use. In the same way, a lot of the McDonald's and the KFC depots around the country and Walmarts are specifically placed so that they can instantly transform into military warehousing for military supply, you see. This is all that's gone on. I mean, when McDonald's is an American company. And, you know, when the McDonald's is open, you're dealing with a franchisee. You're dealing with somebody that's bought the a franchise off McDonald's as he's running it as his own business. The entire gig, the building, the car park still belongs to... Yeah, this... And people have missed this. But Walmart especially across the US, because Walmart has not been here since previous to it buying the Asda. And it still has control of the Asda, really, in the sense that these ISA brothers are basically paying them 30%, and although I believe that's come down somewhat, I don't know, but I just look at this, what's going on with the Asda, and I think to myself, well, if Aldi are announcing 160 new stores across the UK, and Asda's looking a bit feeble, is the Aldi going to take over all these stores? It wouldn't surprise me. And Aldi, if you remember, I can't understand why people still shop there. They were the biggest purveyors of all the shit that come out during that lockdown situation. They were rancid with it. They were rabid at it. Forcing you to do this, forcing you to do that. I mean, the reason why... I can't understand why people still shop there. It's ridiculous, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. I know of one woman who was taken into care with her 3 brothers who was took the money, but her lawyers are looking at 100 grand more. Well, they will, won't they? Because they're getting a court. Jerry says, interesting pattern on Frederick the 10th floor. Right, I missed that. Jerry says, that's why you had outbreaks of E. coli in frozen fruit. Well, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Absolutely. Aye, it's yellow. Yeah, exactly. That is the human shit. I've been onto this now for quite some years. Because the first farmer to do it that I were aware of were a guy up top of Aussie. I'm just trying to think of his name. Now, I know he's a Mason. And I know he played a part in getting that warning to me back in the day that if I didn't stop what I was doing, the police were going to shoot me. It's not coming to mind. What's his name? I can't remember his name. But he was the first farmer I watched do this. And first, obviously, it was the smell across the town when it come this way. And obviously, because I used to go up on the tops of Oswald a lot, I'd watched him do this. And so that's when I started to research it. So if you're watching these guys spray this yellow liquid on anything, that is human shit. And then for the cheek, they're calling it organic. How can it be organic? There's more medication in it than anything else. You know what I mean? I mean, you know yourself, if you have to use a toilet at some of these outlets, you know, that you're visiting, if you're travelling and such, you can always tell when somebody fully medded up's been on toilet. It fucking stinks and it's like piss all over a toilet. And it has a smell about it. You know what I mean? So I'll sit there and fucking scold the whole thing before I put my little bottom on it. But you know them that are fully up, medded up. It's quite ridiculous. So, yeah, and that's what they're doing. And I've been on that for a long time. Does anybody care? No. UN plan to make the countryside off limits and the farmers will enforce that. Of course they will. That's where they're pushing now. That's where they're starting to push. You can't let this happen. They're also using the horse people as well. And this, I had a run-in with one a few years ago when we used to do his bike, you know, when I used to do a lot of mountain biking. And I just said to her, look, basically, love, I said, if you ever scream at me like that again for being on a bike, I said, what I'll do is I'll pick a brick up and I'll throw it as hard as I can at your fucking donkey and we'll see how long you stay on it. I said, and hopefully you'll fall off and break your fucking neck. I said, do you understand what I've just said to you? I said, because if you think sat up there on that fucking horse that you're somehow protected, I said, think again. I said, because that's exactly what I'll do. You don't own this fucking land, and just because you've decided to bring your horse on it doesn't give you the authority to tell me, who's been using this land for years, what to fucking do. I never saw her again. Ever. Because this is the only way you have to treat these pricks. Who the fuck do they think they are telling you what you can do on the fucking land? They can only do that if you let them. I've noticed that they're trying to take over fucking roads as well with these fucking horses. Well, fine, if you're going to put your horse on the fucking road, I don't give a shit if it fucking bolts and shits itself at cars. I don't care. I won't be battered by a love for horses, as it were, by people. And that's how they're running you, on that emotion side of that. Oh, the horse. Fuck the fucking horse. If the horse is on the road and it's shit scared, it shouldn't be on the fucking road, should it? It's that simple. And don't let them beat you with this stuff, because that's exactly what they're doing on the land, and they're using the sheep farmers especially. Like the other week, we were on some guy had put a picture on trying to fucking scare people of his shotgun on his quad. And somebody said, oh, you don't want to be going up there, quit your dog out lead, and showed you a picture. And I just said, if you shoot my fucking dog for nothing but saving a bit of profit, I'll stick that gun up your fucking ass. And I weren't joking either. Who the fuck do they think they are, these fuckers? You know what I'm saying? And for some strange reason, they seem to be employing specific characters that are herding sheep. They're complete dicks. Do you know what I mean? The dickheads that are leasing the land right next to these public rights of way. Now, I'm not saying it's good that dogs kill sheep. I'm not saying that at all. Anybody that's gone, if you've got a dog and you're a good owner, you'll have control of your dog, whether it's on the lead or not. So, of course, if you know your dog's a bit tapped and you're going where there's sheep, put the bloody thing on a lead. It's sensible. But in the main, most dogs are not running around chasing sheep. Are they? But they're trying to blanket it wherever you go now with your dog, keep it on a lead. Until they've killed them all. You know, they were only a couple of years ago, they were talking about slaughtering all your cats. I mean, come on. They did that before somewhere, I can't remember exactly now. But it's all the UN plan, and it's all being pulled in together. There's nothing coming out of big end politics, media, so-called rebellion, alternative media that isn't playing its part to pull in this UN agenda, which is the no-hide system. They're all playing it, and what they're doing with the big boys is keeping you fixed to everything that Trump is doing that's actually sensible. But if you look what's really happening with America, America's going to become so isolated on a lot of this tariff stuff that when they pull the plug, no, they're going to be screwed. They're going to be in chaos. I can see the game that they're playing, but I know most people can't. But that's because they're fixed on what they believe right over left is carrying out. We are recognising that the right and the left are the same bastards. There is no difference between them apart from how they talk and certain policies. And I've said this before. Consider that 22 protocols, rules, are required to run a nation. 22, let's just say as a figure. So what's the Crown done back in the day? It's torn it in half. Give 11 to the left and 11 to the right. Those, therefore, left and right are both holding 11 maxims that you need to run a nation. That gives them power. It gives them sensibility. But really, it takes the two conjoined to make the country work correctly. But as soon as they've done that, you've got division. Left, right, left, right. You're never going to achieve anything. And that's what they've done. They're the same bastards. And Bolshevik bastards at that. Where are we? So it's yellow. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Even if Sean says, Martin, drinking water is recycled sewage water. Well, what I have noticed with drinking tap water over the years is there's always got a red dye in it. And you tend to see it. It fixes onto your grout in your tile. And it also, if you've got one of them curtains, it'll start to fix to that at the bottom end. Now, when I did all that business with them before, they were saying it was just rust. You know, if you've done some work somewhere, it just flicks up rust and it comes in. But it's a permanent fixture, that red, all over the show. But yeah, well, I don't think we're on a closed system up here yet. They're on a closed system in London and a lot of the southern areas. But up north, I don't know for sure, but I'm still not convinced that they've managed to get us on closed systems. But that could be the case. I don't know. They've been doing a lot of work, haven't they? United Utilities for the last 40 years. Genetically made wolf. Sorry, where are we? Yeah. John, that was John Smith saying that. Yeah, I think. Yeah, exactly, John. You're right. the genetically made wolf to keep you out the wild. Oh, you mean the... Well, this is the thing. They release these things and they say, we have to protect it. Royal Society for the Prevention of Bird Cruelty and all that shit. This is what they do. They nick it, set up these tits, the curtain lookers, we'll tell over everybody. And they're running it. They actually believe they're doing something good because they're stupid. You know what I mean? And it's loose lips sink ships. That's the baby boomer overriding mentality, which is why fucking secret societies exploded under that generation. Well, actually, the generation since the war, but this is where it goes. Everyone, shh, see no, speak no, like we were talking the other week. They've been programmed with that because of the war. And then in the 60s, when they were all shagging each other, kids everywhere, again, don't tell anybody I'm a raging fucking rampant shagger, It's just their way. Total secrecy. And that's why the secret societies burgeoned. Without it being people that had a little bit more about them and were in them secret societies to oppose the might of Rome, So yeah, what do they call these new wolves? I forgot what they call them. The old-fashioned ones. It's garbage anyway. Tree says, for F's sake, I've just eaten a cheese omelette. Well, as long as it were decent cheese, you'd probably be all right. Well, if you've eaten it now, you're all right. But okay. Jerry says, a lot of new estates aren't even connected and must be taken in tankers up to 3 times a day. Now, that is another terrifying thing, isn't it? When you see these United Utilities tankers parking up, oh, you got a problem. I wouldn't go near them. I wouldn't go near that water in that. What have they put in it to test that area? They can easily just explode one of the pipes and they've got a complete enclosure of properties and people and go, right now you need to drink this shit. And it's just because nobody has any labs. Nobody does testing anymore. Nobody tests anything. And when I inquired about it, it costs an absolute fortune to set up a lab that can test all this stuff. Your chemical companies still have these labs. We have Bly's Chemicals here. We have a German chemical company up in Baxenden. But you try and get this kind of stuff tested there. It's not going to happen. They won't do it. Tune says, they grew broadband in that field last year. Broadband or broad beans? They grew broadband. Well, why are you having so much trouble then? You know what I mean? Anyway, that's a laugh. So broad beans, I assume you're saying the farmers don't give a shit. No, they don't. They never have. The reason why the farmers are in this position is because they didn't give a shit. And it's the small holdings that are having the problems. It's the same with the foot and mouth and the Lake District. They annihilated all the small holdings in the Lake District and took them over, bought them out. They were all going bankrupt, committing suicide because of foot and mouth. And they bought it all up. Now you go up Lake District and you've got people up there that you wouldn't really want up there. Grassing and telling tales and, I'm part of this society. We're all fucking great and fantastic. North Yorkshire, Jesuit country. Full of them. Has been for many, 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 many years. It's where they're at. They've left Stonehurst. Stonehurst is now a 100% Masonic enterprise. Jesuits are all up in North Yorkshire. Yorkshire Dales, what's that big? There's a big Yorkshire trust, I can't remember what it's called. Johnny says, a lot of new estate, yeah, done that as well. John says, I stopped eating eggs in 2020. I don't mind eating eggs. And we've got a lass up market sells them. I need to ask her if she's part of this laying gig. Well, they do loads of shit. Loads of shit. You brought it up, Treen. Says Jerry. Yeah, good idea. Yes, to shit the gobs. Okay, shut the gobs. That's better. Treen, you're having a problem. Spelling tonight, cock. Is it what's in that? What's in that omelette, kid? Is it that shit we've just looked at? Oh. Where are we? Deirdre's neck says, I could be wrong, I could be right. Sent me, just popping in to say hi. I could be wrong, I could be right. Sent me. Oh, so somebody sent you, so, okay. Alright. Well, hello Deirdre's neck. And welcome. Ulick, look at the owner of Aldi. He was kidnapped, and what he did, he paid the ransom and claimed it back as tax. Well, that won't surprise me. When the two German guys and they split, one became Lidl and one remained out there. I think that's how it went in. I mean, that's a bit suspicious in and of itself, but Lidl didn't give a shit through all Bookscript. They weren't even... They didn't even entertain any of that stuff. In fact, I were in there one time and there were two self-appointed spastics with like uniforms on at the door. And I just wandered in as I always had done, because obviously I didn't put no nappies on. And they started following me around like they were fucking Secret Service. Every time I looked round or anything, they were there like, oh, he's here. And so they didn't approach me while I were in the thing. They waited till I were on my way out. Well, I think they wished they hadn't by the time I'd finished with them. Honestly, it was so pathetic. But the Lidl didn't actually give a shit, which were good. I like that, and that's why I'll give them my custom. Trine says, my son-in-law's company has just been taken over by a global company. His clients are billiards, like Anders from ASOS, who is rewinding the Highlands up at Tong and killed Rummy. What? Oh, billiards. I don't know what you mean there, chick. Benefact says, eggs are injected. Yeah, they are. They were doing that back in 2010. So that's not a new thing. So accusing them raw may be harmful. Exactly, I just don't do anything raw anymore. I used to eat 6 raw eggs a morning back in the 80s. I wouldn't do that anymore. However, if they're boiled or fried, the risk is significantly reduced. Which is the case with all foods. You know, they've got this, everybody in mind full of parasites that... You know, you've got to see that they've hyped that up because they know most people are going to be sat there shitting themselves, the parasites. You've got to use you've got to use your own thought process on this. And you cook food well, nothing in there. Like they show these, you'll see these videos where it's got parasites. Maggots say, well, if you're cooking it, they're dead. They're dead, and it's just another form of meat. It's bad that they're doing it. But they've been doing it and they're going to do it until people wake up and start going out, I've had enough of this. Which I'm not seeing any signs of. Where are we there? Welcome Deirdre Ulick, says Jerry. Sean and chat, evening Ulick. I haven't heard that name in donkeys. I could be right, I could be wrong. Tell her hello from me, Deirdre's neck. So, right, so we know somebody called... Yeah, so we know somebody that do it. Okay, I get you now, Deirdre, fair enough. John says, I've had a few heated arguments with farmers when I'm out walking. Well, I just wouldn't give them time of fucking day, to be honest, you know. I really wouldn't. You know, just remember, there's always bricks and fucking big sticks that you can pick up and just smack them with head, shut them all. But they are getting a bit pomp and circ. You're thinking they own fucking place. No, you don't, pal. You don't. And if you do, it's a title, it's not a deed, is it? So Jerry says, Direwolf, that's him. Sadly, her estranged sister and brother, I think, were also involved and sold off all their assets. Broad beans. Yeah, I thought you meant broad beans, Joe. June says, my runny beans are coming on nicely. Grow your own. Precisely. And in this last few years, I live with a lass who had her own allotment, and my God, the taste difference is just... you can't even describe the difference in taste. And where I were before here, I grew strawberries and all sorts of stuff. It's just delicious. It used to be. But we're going back way a long time ago. They've been filling us with shit for a long time. And still our bodies keep going, don't they? You know what I mean? So nice one, June. What's this Direwolf I've seen the last one? I think that's what they're on about. Don't go near the woods. When we were kids, we used to go out purposely looking for this Black Panther escape cat. Okay, we had shotguns and this and that, but we felt safe. But we used to go out deliberately to hunt it, not shit ourselves and say, we're not going there. We used to go out of our way to hunt this thing. Never saw a thing, ever. So if there were direwolves up there, we certainly wouldn't be going, don't shit yourself. We'd be going, let's go and find them and be their friend, kind of thing. It's my chubby fingers, says Treen. That's the one you von der Leyen's family own Aldi. Okay. All right. Right. Okay. Von der Leyen's. Well, not surprising. So it doesn't surprise me. Now, I do have a couple of things we can have a look at. So this is, again, just in support of what I've been saying about what they're hiding. It says how Trump is restoring Zionist groups to the most powerful lobby in the United States. The Antichrist in Trump's administration and probably in your family as well. Well, as I said, it's a moot point now, the term Zionist. It's no hides. Because that's what it is. That's what the Zionists have been building. As most of the world's been focused on President Trump's economic policies and tariffs this past week, he continued to forge ahead to fulfill his campaign promise to restore the Zionist lobby in the US as the most powerful lobby in the US by far. Here is a recording of Trump's campaign promise in 2024 to restore the Zionist lobby for Israel is the most powerful lobby in the US by far. Well, we don't need to watch it, but we know he does it. Notice how he distinguishes between Zionist Jews and non-Zionist Jews by calling the latter Palestinians in a racial slur similar to how black Americans used to be referred to by the N-word, suggesting that they are inferior human beings. This week, Trump announced he was nominating Israel-born Chabad Lubavitch Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan as US Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. Chris Minahan, Information Liberation reports. President Trump on Thursday announced he was nominating Israeli-born Chabad Lubavitch Rabbi Yehuda Kaplan as US Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism. I am proud to nominate Yehuda Kaplan as the United States Special Envoy to monitor and combat anti-Semitism, Ambassador at Large, Trump said on Truth Social. Yehuda is a successful businessman and staunch advocate for the Jewish faith and the rights of his people to live and worship free from persecution. By persecuting every fucker else. With anti-Semitism dangerously on the rise, Yehuda will be the strongest representative for Americans and Jews across the globe. Americans and Jews. Listen at this. Americans and Jews, just so tying them in together like they do. It's so ridiculous. America were built on Christian values, and if I remember rightly, the man came to overthrow and demolish the last Judahite temple. So, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It's gobbledygook, just like calling somebody an anti-Semite is accusing them of being anti-language. Come on. Kaplan, a prominent Miami-based businessman and long-time confidant of Trump, served as his Jewish outreach chief on Trump's vision for US-Israel relations after the 2024 election victory, the Jerusalem Post reports. Kaplan was born to a Chabad Lubavitch family in Kfar Shabbat, near Israel's Ben Gurion airport. Kaplan initially got connected to Trump through Miriam and Sheldon Adelson, according to the Jewish Telegraphic Agency. It confirmed, well, I put some up or watched something the other month where it was showing the billionaires as they were rising and falling. Of course, Bill Gates for a long time. And Sheldon Adelson came up there for quite a while. Do you know, I can't remember exactly which years he became powerful, but that's the guy that basically was behind Trump. Now it's his wife who continues Adelson's empire. If confirmed, Kaplan would join an administration that has cited anti-Semitism in rolling out a range of new policies, including around cancelling the visas of students involved in pro-Palestinian protests, freezing federal funding to colleges and universities, and monitoring the social media feeds of immigrants. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. We monitoring social media feeds of immigrants anyway. You don't have to tie that to anti-Semitism. Max Blumenthal of the Grey Zone also published a leaked audio from the meeting with the CEO of the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, where they boasted that they had special access to the top national security officials in the Trump administration, including John Ratcliffe, whom they helped in securing the position of head of the CIA. The Grey Zone has obtained audio of an off-the-record session from the 2025 Congressional Summit of AIPAC, the main US lobby arm of the State of Israel. Recorded by an attendee of the panel discussion, the audio features AIPAC's new CEO, Elliot Brand, describing how his organisation has cultivated influence with 3 top national security officials in the Trump administration: Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Director Mike Waltz, and CIA Director John Ratcliffe. And of course there's a video there. I will put this up underneath. Recognising the Antichrist rule in the US and identifying the Antichrist in your own family and community, blah blah blah. One of the biggest misconceptions in American Christianity today is the false belief that the book of Revelation prophesies that a world ruler will emerge during the last days who will be referred to as the Antichrist. However, this term Antichrist does not appear anywhere in the book of Revelation. The Apostle John did use the word in his writings, but not in the book of Revelation. The term, also used in the plural, Antichrists, appears in John's first 2 epistles. Well, Christ is just Logos. The word Christ itself is from the Greek language that the New Testament part of the Bible was written in, and means anointed one, and is synonymous with the word Messiah, which means the same thing, but from the Hebrew language. The first thing Andrew did was to find his brother Simon and tell him, "We found the Messiah." That is the Christ, said John 1:41. It was used as part of the name of Jesus Christ, or Jesus, the Anointed One from God. Here are the totality of verses in the New Testament written by John that contain the word Antichrist. Dear children, this is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming. Even now many Antichrists have come. This is how we know it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they did not really belong to us, for if they had belonged to us, they would have remained with us. But their going showed that none of them belonged to us. But you have an anointing from the Holy One, and all of you know the truth. I do not write to you because you do not know the truth, but because you do know it, and because no lie comes from the truth. Good God. They're all talking bloody in riddles. Who is the liar? It is the man who denies that Jesus is the Christ. Such a man is the Antichrist. He denies the Father and the Son. So you can see where, they've turned these belief systems into a bit of a pantomime, really, with this kind of garbage. No one who denies the Son has the Father. Whoever acknowledges the Son has the Father also. So that what you have heard from the beginning remains in you. If it does, you also will remain the Son and in the Father. So, I mean, it's like, I'm writing these things to you about those who are trying to lead you astray. As for you, the anointing you received from him remains in you, and you do not need anyone to teach you. But as his anointing teaches you about all things, and as that anointing is real, not counterfeit, just as it taught you, remain in him. I mean, what kind of language is that? Is it any wonder it's gone up its arse? I mean, the simple fact is, when you look at that kind of stuff, basically what they're saying is, if you accepted that man as speaking from the Father of the beginnings and his will as he created this place, if you accept that this guy is saying, I am giving you what was the original law of the original Father, then you don't have to say, is he God or is he not God? All you're asking is, well, if this guy's what he's saying is correct, then that's the word of the Father. Therefore, his work can be said to be of the Father. And then he gets all bowled up with this, I am the Son of. Oh, well, why does it matter? He said he was the Son of Man. He did claim that his kingdom was his Father's and it was from within. So I can see, but this stuff here that I've just read, it just exacerbates what's a pretty simple idea, really. If you accept that that's from the Father of the beginnings, then you have to accept that it is the word of the same. And he's just a channeler of it. It just, honestly. We don't need to get into all that anyway, because you know what Americans are like for all that malarkey. But basically, Trump is just doing everything that we said he were going to do, which is install this no-hide system across America. And as long as these gatekeepers can keep you fixed to the good stuff you perceive he's doing, then this stuff isn't getting seen. So there's quite a few good links on this side. These guys do quite a lot of good stuff. But obviously it's biblical base, and some of it gets a bit exciting and out there. But they're onto the game, basically, you know what I mean? They're onto the game in a lot of places. So they say, expose the Christian Zionist cult, I lay a stone in Zion, and chosen and precious cornerstone. And the stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Yeah, I mean, and that, we looked at that. Where does that symbol come from? It's an invention. It's absolute nonsense, to be quite honest. Insider exposes Freemasonry as the oldest secret religion and the Luciferian plans for the New World Order. Well, Jesuits should have a lot to tell you about that as well. Maybe we'll have a look at some of the stuff I've written about Jesuits at some point down the line, because they make a lot of claims about how they took over Freemasonry and how they've been running it since they did that. Now, here's an interesting... Not that. We've looked at that, haven't we? Now, this is EU, so take note. It's only short.
Europe is the values of the Talmud, the Jewish sense of personal responsibility, of justice, and of solidarity.
So that's the mad bitch that's been wrecking Europe. You want to hear that again?
Europe is the values of the Talmud, the Jewish sense of personal responsibility, of justice, and of solidarity.
Ooh, person.
Europe is the values of the Talmud.
Can't get any clearer than that. She is a complete fruitcake, that one. And I suppose you already know. What else have we got? What's happened there? Now, this is a bit interesting. I don't know whether you're aware of this, but this UK censorship online bill. Now, GAP's having a lot of trouble with this, where they're trying to get GAP to censor everything. And the GAP is saying basically no. 18 million quid they're told, saying they're going to fine people, these companies, if they don't do what they're told. And it's Ofcom, which is just a company that's offering you a contract. Personal, she said. Personal. See, the trickery's in there. The Online Arms Bill in the UK has been enacted as the Online Safety Bill Act, Online Safety Act 2023, which aims to regulate online content and protect users from illegal and harmful content. The Act requires online platforms to take action against illegal content and content that could be harmful to children. And it empowers Ofcom, the UK media regulator, to enforce these regulations. Companies that fail to comply can face fines of up to 18 million or 10% of their annual turnover, whichever is higher. Now, you've noticed, haven't you, in the last week or so, they've got this new game on called the Toxic Masculinity. So if any male acts like a male, they're going to program these younger generations that that's actually toxic. Again, this is the art of war being employed to weaken the enemy, okay, which is the future generations. But of course, most people out there are going to buckle under to it. Well, they said we can't do it. Well, okay then, there you go. But I'm free, nobody tells me what to do. No, they said you can't do that, yet you're not allowed. But I'm free, nobody tells me what to do. Can you see the irony of that? It's quite ridiculous, but it's out there and it's rife. The Act was criticised for its potential to restrain lawful but harmful speech, effectively creating a new form of censorship of otherwise legal speech. As a result, measures intended to force big technology platforms to take down legal but harmful materials were removed from the bill in November 2022. The Online Safety Act 2023 was passed on 26th of October 2023, and came into effect on the 17th of March 2025. Tech companies are now required to implement safeguards to prevent illegal harms such as encouraging suicide, extreme pornography and selling drugs. It includes provisions for criminal offences related to encouraging serious self-harm and cyber flashing. Cyber flashing, what's that? And it grants significant powers to the Secretary of State to direct Ofcom on the exercise of its functions. So it's another government operation. The Act has significant implications for citizens' online behaviour in the United Kingdom. The Act aims to protect both children and adults from illegal and harmful content only by imposing new legal duties on online service providers. Here are some key impacts. Content regulation. Online platforms are required to take action against illegal content and content deemed harmful to children. This includes removing or blocking access to such content which may affect what users can view or share online. However, they're still going to sexually assault them and groom them and abuse them in the schools by teaching them to masturbate at age 5. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen, because the government's doing it. But you are not allowed to do anything online to protect your children because, of course, it will be legal but harmful speech, harmful to the agenda of the corporations. You see the reverse speaking, the way they're playing it? Age verification. Companies must prevent children from accessing age-inappropriate content. This may involve implementing age verification mechanisms, which could impact how users, especially younger ones, access and use online services. This may result in users being required to use real names, addresses and proof of date of birth to verify their documents. Junior Marie identification card. It's an image of, and it's a birth, look. There's a birth on there, it's the trust. Da-da-da. Reporting mechanisms. Social media companies and other online platforms must provide clear and accessible ways for users to report problems and make complaints. This could lead to more user engagement in monitoring and reporting harmful content. Fines and enforcement. Platforms that fail to comply with the Act's requirements can face significant fines, up to 18 million or 10% of their annual turnover, whichever is higher. This enforcement mechanism is expected to encourage stricter content moderation and compliance. Ofcom's role. Ofcom, the independent regulator, but being told what to do by its Secretary of State, is responsible for enforcing the Act and raising awareness about online safety. Ofcom's codes of practice and guidance will play a crucial role in shaping how platforms implement the Act's requirements. Censorship concerns. Same organisations such as Article 19 and the Open Rights Group have raised concerns that the Act could lead to over-censorship and infringe on free speech. They argue that the Act's broad definitions of harmful content and the threat of harsh penalties could result in the removal of legitimate content. Now, Trump's told him to piss off on this, hasn't he? They're not happy with this bill, so he says. End-to-end encryption. The Act includes provisions that allow Ofcom to issue notices requiring the breaking of end-to-end encryption. Though the government has stated these powers will not be used immediately, this has sparked debates about privacy and security, with some tech firms suggesting they may withdraw from the UK market rather than weaken their encryption. BitChute has withdrawn their services to the UK. So that's good. So you need a virtual thing here, VP, whatever they call them, to get BitChute, okay? You can see we're going to have to go back to CDs and leaflets, aren't you? Because they're depending on everybody being fixed to this, and then all they need to do is censor this, and it censors everybody. Now, if you're smart, you go, yeah, do that, but we'll do this. But then most people get curries on, and they've got to have the dinner. You know what I mean? They can't be doing that kind of malarkey. I've done that. So BitChute's off in the UK. I don't blame you. So, user rights and protections. The Act includes provisions to protect journalistic and democratically important content, ensuring that such content is not arbitrarily removed. This is intended to balance the need for content regulation with the protection of free expression. Overall, the Online Safety Act 2023 is expected to significantly alter the online landscape in the UK, with both positive and potentially negative impacts on user behaviour and content availability. The Online Safety Act 2023 has already led to significant legal actions, including arrests and convictions, particularly in cases of cyber flashing and other forms of online harassment. I mean, I have no problem with harassment. If somebody's harassing somebody else online and properly doing that, that's good. If somebody's in the public eye and they're being sent information from the public, that's different. That's not harassment. That's saying, you're fucking holding office, pal. You'll take this on board. But it's always better to do it in written form anyway. I used to hand deliver it, and they tried that. I don't need to look at this. I said, are you a public servant? Yes, you fucking need to look at it, pal. And they just shut up. But they tried everything when I used to hand deliver it to them. And made no mistake about it. I'll go right back to that if I have to. It doesn't matter to me. First cyber flashing conviction. Nicholas Hawkes from Basildon, Essex, became the first person to be convicted and imprisoned under the Online Security Act for the criminal offences of cyber flashing. Hawkes, a 39-year-old registered sex offender, was convicted for sending unsolicited explicit images, including a photograph of his winkle, to a 15-year-old girl and another woman. His actions were reported to the authorities, leading to his arrest. It shouldn't have took an online safety bill for that to become an issue of an arrestable nature, should it? If the girl, 15-year-old and mum, reported that to the police before this 2023 bill, one would expect, as common decency, it would have been arrested anyway. It doesn't need to big up this garbage by pretending it's only because of that a pervert got arrested. So even the bloody supporting garbage is garbage. What else did he say? If you got his actions were reported to the authorities, leading to his arrest and conviction on December the 13th, 2024. Cyber flashing, which is defined as sending or giving a relevant image to another person with the intention of causing alarm, distress, or humiliation, or for the purpose of obtaining sexual gratification, and being reckless as to whether the recipients will be caused alarm, distress, or humiliation. Do you know what I'm thinking as I'm reading that? I'm just laughing my head off. How many of you out there have been sending your dick pics and your Fangita pics all across the fucking internet? And you don't think these intelligence operations in your local towns and industrial estates have not collected them? They can throw that back in your face at any time they want. Stop sending filth across the internet. If you are talking to a bird who wants you to send her a dick pic, she's not for you. Unless, of course, you're a pervert and a dick. Anyway, then carry on. But you can just see how they've put this in place after they've encouraged you all for years to be debasing yourself by sending this stuff. And then there's a suicide forum. Well, again, who would want to be promoting anybody that's encouraging people to suicide? That's ridiculous. It shouldn't need this act for that. It faced criticism. Various organisations, including Article 19, yeah, blah, 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 we sent that. Right, we've read that. So, offensive posts. Contrary to popular belief, you cannot simply post whatever you wish on social media. Many social media platforms have built-in monitoring algorithms to prevent offensive posts. When you sign up to a platform, you are agreeing to abide by their community rules. If you break these rules, you could have your account suspended, and in some cases, further action might be taken. Can I be prosecuted for an offensive post? Yes, if you're a fruit bat. Can my employer dismiss me over a social media post? Yeah, if you're a fruit bat. I'll just give some sponsorships. But then why would you want to be throwing offensive stuff out anywhere? The offence, when you're in journalism, this is another trick that they use, these word wizards, and that is, if a journalist is exposing some criminality or some wrongdoing, there is the offence, what's being exposed, not the fact that the journalist is exposing it. So, for instance, the other Monday, I think it was Tuesday, watched a bit of Big Brother because obviously you've got bloody Yon Money, haven't you? What's he called? I'm quite shocked. I mean, I'm watching these guys coming. I thought, well, I don't know half of these people. I knew that's Spastic Trish, who's obviously in there to use cancer as a protection so she can talk shit to everybody. But you know what I mean? Mickey, you know what I mean. Well, what I found interesting, this young lass I've never heard of before called Jojo, she started to dictate to Mickey Rourke what he's allowed to say and what he's not allowed to say. And I thought, you know, they've put this together very well, these Big Brother penises, just so that they can help to get a feel for how people are taking this. But, so this is how I'd have played it. So let's say I were in the house, right, and this little Georgette said to me, no, you can't say that, that's offensive, it's not acceptable. I'd have said to her, well, what you've just said to me is offensive and unacceptable. They'd be pretty fucked there. Do you know why? Because all you've done is show them that you have blocked their opinion. Because they were trying to block yours. But they're depending on you being thick so they can bully you into accepting their opinion and not accepting yours. And I said then, did you see what happened there? And they'd be like, oh. I said, I've just prevented you from having an opinion. Did it piss you off? Well, of course, you'll have seen how it pissed you off to her with face and contortions. And I said, well, that's exactly what you've just attempted to do to me. So, I'd say, this is how it should work. I am not responsible for how you react to stimuli in the outside world. Just as you're not responsible for how I react to stimuli in the outside world. If you were to focus on your reactions to things that you find uncomfortable, and I concentrate on my reactions to things I find uncomfortable, then we don't have any argument. There's no game there. There's just a difference of opinion. Now, and nobody in that has got the capacity to think it or say it, have they? They're all, oh, and then listening to all the spastics, we're wrong with that, we're terrible. There was nothing terrible about it at all. Mickey Rourke, albeit not presenting himself the best because he's like a bit of an isolating, the people like him because he's old school, and which means the mentality that old school has is, you fell off your bike, it's not a problem, lad, rub your head, off you go. Not, oh my God, you want to come into an anxiety room and then tell the world about your anxiety and then it would turn into mental health and turn into this and to that. No, it would say, no problem, lad, you fell off your bike, you're all right, you're not going to die, crack on, get back on it. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of attitude. And the same with, look, you can talk shit all day for you. I'm not interested in what you're saying, but don't attempt to tell me that I have to agree with you or obey you. So that's the old school mentality. Obviously, Mickey's not, he's not the best at sort of presenting it in that manner, but you could see one day that little Jojo were giving it, yeah, that Mickey Rourke, he's going to go out, the people will hate him, nobody will like him for that, blah, blah, blah. I'll bet she had shock of her life when he didn't get thrown out. Now, I haven't seen it, obviously, since Friday. I think I watched the evictions. So my interest is in watching this programming that they've set up in there, that's all. But it'll be interesting to see how Mickey plays it, but more importantly, how the public out there. And this is why they've done this. They've put, all the others are pretty much spastic. Daley Thompson's playing the quiet man. But that Tricia is getting right up my ass. She is one opinionated fruitcake, but using her cancer for emotional, oh, she's got cancer. I mean, if I were in there and I just said to her, like, so why do you think you got cancer, Chuck? What do you think you were doing wrong in your life that got that? I beg your pardon, I haven't done anything wrong. So, well, yeah, you must have done something seriously wrong for your body to get acidic and one of your chakras to cave in, and now you've got cancer. And then they were giving it the big, oh, and we collect so much money. Yeah, I'm sure 800 billion a year. They're not going to offer you a remedy for cancer, are they? But nobody's going to come in with that, are they? Nobody's going to come in with sanity. Everybody's going to bow down to the garbage, and especially the fact that she's got cancer. It's quite ridiculous how they, you know, to watch these Tavistock programming systems, because in the background they're collecting data. They're collecting data. How's the public reacting to this? How's the public reacting to that? Because nobody knows if them votes that they're saying, and they're out, you have no idea whether that's what the public did. No idea whatsoever. No, because Big Brother are doing it all. It's a Tavist operation. But it's interesting. But that little event that happened with that Jojo was just it so pissed me off, so made me cross, because that's the mindset they're promoting to the younger generations. Anxiety, mental health. Radio 1's the same. There was a guy the other week doing he said he was going to do 5 marathon runs for that penis that sorts out comic relief. You know, a big gob geezer. I've never liked him, even before all that stuff. Never liked him. And if you look at what he spends your money on, you would be not liking him either. So this guy's doing this so-called marathon running and Radio 1 and all, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he got to his 3rd day and the guy was nearly dying. And well, all the presenters were like, oh, the anxiety. So they were doing big games on anxiety and mental health. And it turns out all Radio 1 DJs are mentally retarded. They're admitting it all the time. And this is the mentality they're programming into the youth. It's all about anxiety. You must control your anxiety. Come to me, we'll help you stay in your anxiety. Not man up, son, and sort your fucking life out. Get a grip and deal with it. No, they're encouraging them to stay in this anxiety. And then they turn it into mental health. And then they're going through all these other spastic things. It's like, but Radio 1, honestly, it's an absolute disgrace. And the DJs on it are the biggest arseholes I've ever seen. I mean, it really is radio immigrant. You've never heard the grunting that's going on in these tunes, thanks to Jason Status. The nonsense that's going on, that these immigrants are coming in and they think they're smart. And they'll give them a buzzword like GDP. So they'll stick it in the lyric. You haven't got a clue what it means, but they'll stick it in anyway. And the new one now where he's going to A minor, and he's like, and I'm like, what? Where have you come from, son? That is shit. And these DJs, oh, it's amazing, it's fantastic. I've never heard such shit in my life. In fact, it's that shit. They do have to put some pretty good stuff on occasionally, just to keep people's interest. I keep listening to Radio 1. I'm addicted to its nonsense because it just gets worse by the minute. But if you want to see programming, there's your Radio 1. So I don't think we need to look at that muck anymore. Or Section 127 of the Communications Act. This law criminalises causing distress by sending messages that are grossly offensive, or by sharing content of an indecent, obscene, or menacing character via electronic communication networks. Oh, so when council is saying, you are a person, and we are going to shaft you all over the place, that's grossly offensive, in my opinion. It's indecent and obscene, and it's menacing. So, Section 127, the Communications Act. We'll have to look at that. Section 1 of the Malicious Communications Act. This act also targets the sending of offensive, indecent, or menacing messages, but specifically through a postal or electronic communication. The Crown's Prosecution Service has outlined that in order to face charge of social media posts, the post must amount to a credible threat of violence. Council tax, bailiffs, police be a part of a targeted campaign of harassment against an individual. Oh, council tax officers at council, third-party solicitors, clerks of the court, judges. Oh, harassment against an individual. Interesting. Breach of court order. Terrorism Act. This act outlines several key offences related to prescribed organisations. Membership of a prescribed organisation, it's criminal. That's what they've been trying to do with me with that 3.5 million. That's exactly what they've been trying to do. You know, it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm really going to jump on 3.5 million because I'm stupid. You know, I'm proper stupid, mate. I'm going to have it, yeah. But that's what they were trying to do. Because it's membership of a prescribed organisation, yeah? Offences extraterritorial jurisdiction, meaning it applies to British nationals and UK residents, regardless of where the membership is held. Inviting or recklessly expressing support for a prescribed organisation. Displaying or publishing articles. It's an offence to word or display articles in public that are likely to arouse reasonable suspicion that an individual is a member or supporter of a prescribed organisation. This includes clothing, badges and other items. Well, if nobody's realised yet that the British Empire is the biggest terrorist organisation on the planet, and that all you please have now got one on the thing, can you see how it's there? But you think it applies to you only, whereas actually they're saying that that's that. You just have to look and go, well, hang on a minute, you're doing that. Follow it through. You know, you get what I'm saying though, don't you? It's anyway, I've had enough of that because it's just garbage. I'll put it up anyway. But it is getting bad because journalists, you know, are starting to face this kind of shit, which is unacceptable. Journalists are there to expose what they want. People up to no good want to remain hidden, and that's their job to do that. So I'll put that up as well, and then I did have something else, but obviously we've not got time to do this. But it's Beat the Reset. Now, somebody only sent me this just before, but it is very interesting. And I will put this up.
Your land, your property.
Very interesting data that he's speaking of, and I will put that up underneath this video. So back to who's on, and then we'll call it a day, because I am roasting to death in here. That Flossie. Oh, she does like her eating on, honestly. Where are we there? Alright, oh, well, we're not saying much. Yeah. John Smith says, Train, you should get a book, Grow All You Can Eat in a Square Feet. Yeah, because it's easy, really. I mean, my mates were growing strawberries in little baskets, and they just have it where it sun shines. Big things like that, and they were delicious. You don't need, you know, to crack on. All you need is sunshine and water, and then, you know, potash or reasonably decent compost. You don't even have to buy anything from there. The best way to make compost is cut your grass, put it in a black bin bag, tie it up. Next spring, it's fully formed compost. It's not grass, it's fully formed compost, but you have to put it in the bag. Ursula fond of lying, absolutely. Well, she's Talmudian. The web is like crack. Once hooked, that a dick will find his way to get the fix. I quite agree there, chaps and chapesses. Anyway, I'm roasting. I've had enough. I'm pretty sure you've had enough. It's just time to say thanks to the Knights of the Wise Asylum tonight for keeping it all together. There's quite a lot of blue going on there. Thanks for joining me, everybody and anybody. We're not as excited on the subject matter at the moment, but sometimes it does do us good to have a little bit of a break and perhaps not get as serious as we have been doing over the few months. So thanks for joining. I hope you have a good week. Hope the weather stays up, but it's not looking like that's what's going to happen. But we'll make the best of it whichever way. And I shall say to you all, till the next time.
electronic